look back is if you think about Bloomberg still doing cutting edge digital, cutting edge TV, cutting edge print. I mean, all these other assets.
I
Um,
think of
yeah,
yeah, I think of legacy media less about like the literal uh, medium with which the media is distributed, right? Like whether it's video, podcast, television, and more just like, is this a newsroom full of like real journalists that have been around for a while and trying to challenge, people in power, right? And like Bloomberg certainly qualifies in that regard. And I think, Twitter, I have sort of two thoughts on Twitter and the news environment. I mean, the first is like pre-Elon. I think there's no doubt that Twitter had a huge impact on the way journalism evolved, right? I mean, the ability to break a story on Twitter and watch that news sort of go viral in real time was just, I mean, that was like a drug to journalists. You know what I mean? Like it was something special if you could break a story and the minute, you had a link to share, it was like it's up on Twitter. You're trying to watch that thing go viral.
yeah.
That changed, I think, the pace of journalism. I think it changed sort of the almost the bar of what constitutes a story. And that's where every journalist hung out and spent their time. I think post Elon, it's a very different experience. It's a very
Yeah.
different experience as a journalist. Not only do I find there's fewer and fewer sort of traditional, professional journalists there, but the decision by Elon to remove the blue check marks, I'm sure you'll remember he eliminated the verification badges. One of the first things he did, it really just made it difficult to understand who you're hearing from, right? The news value as a consumer on Twitter went way down because you just don't know, like, is this a real person? Is this a real journalist? Do they really work at the New York Times or Bloomberg or the Wall Street Journal? And because you don't have that element of that verification element, I just think it's less trustworthy. And so as a result, I certainly use it a lot less for news than I did a few years ago.
Right. And we also have an interesting trend percolating too, where a lot of those people that would go to X now to break their news, they're now creating their own channels on places like
Right.
YouTube, Substack, and it's really quite phenomenal how top reporters, media experts are moving into other roles, and a lot of them are independent creators leaving the Washington Post or other large significant places because